Welcome back, friends. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas. My name is Joe, and I'm here live at the Lighthouse Treatment Center. I'm here with a friend of ours. His name is Pej. Welcome.
Well, hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Joe.
And today we are going to be discussing planning for successful recovery in the new year. So we have New Year's coming up. First of all, how was your Christmas?
The holidays were good for me. There's a lot of havoc going on. I live by South Coast Plaza, so
Oh my gosh.
trying to walk into that place like during the time of shopping is
Chaos.
like a cluster,
Yeah.
a cluster of people. But it was fun. It was good. I mean, I got to see some friends and family and just be around. I got to be present for my family. I didn't have to keep retreating to the bathroom and doing stuff that I used to do when I was absent from life. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And how do you want to give some tips about how you managed to stay sober during the holidays? I understand you do have quite a bit of time. He has 10 and a half years, which is amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I actually, there's a lot of my friends that are in recovery that often they'll talk about when it comes down to the holidays, they get kind of squirrely. And if you don't know what squirrely is, it means like they start feeling uneasy. They think like, oh my God, like how am I going to stay sober through the holidays? And me personally, like this is just me.
Yeah.
For me, when I was using and drinking, it was like every day was a holiday anyway. Like I always like to go out with a bang. So it's like when I get closer to the holidays, I take my recovery just as serious as I would as any other day. I do remember in early recovery around the holidays, I didn't know what to do with myself, like in my first year. So I would often find a lot of marathon meetings and things like that, 12-step marathon meetings to where I could just go and be around other people that were sober. And, obviously the type of stuff that I used to do, I was up late at nights usually back when I was in my disease. So once I got clean and sober, I couldn't sleep sometimes. I was kind of sleepless and irritable, and so I'd go to these meetings and just get plugged in. I didn't really have to do that a lot this year. I'm very comfortable in my recovery now, so when it comes to the holidays, like I don't have a hard time with that really. But so it wasn't hard staying sober at all.
Good, very good. Yeah. And when you are early in recovery, it's so important that you have a plan, like a game plan for any situation that you're gonna, enter. Whether it's a happy situation, a challenging situation. So today we're going to be discussing how to plan for successful recovery in the new year. So,
well, again, planning for successful recovery in the new year. Straight up, like every year, what does everybody do when it comes down to the new year? We basically make all these. Well, we party. We party at New Year, but then we have all these resolutions.
Oh,
right?
Yes, resolutions.
So a lot of people, like me personally, like my whole thing was this whole sugar thing. I've been battling. I put all the drugs and alcohol aside. My last vice is just coffee and sugar, and so like. I was going to Trader Joe's and buying these little chocolate-covered Joes. So, I ate them all the way until just the other day, and I kept thinking, well, the New Year's coming, so it's a resolution, so I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to do that. Well, that doesn't, I could cheat with a cookie, but when it comes to drugs and alcohol, it's like... There's no cheating. So, if there's a resolution, like anything, I'm going to take my recovery from last year into this year. And me personally, I'm the type of guy that I take it really seriously. Like when it comes to staying sober, I do recovery like I did drugs and alcohol. Yes. I mean, back in the day when I was gone, when I was lost in that disease of addiction, I would have roller skated in the rain.
Oh my gosh, I did that
to cop dope on the freeway if I had to, right?
I actually did that.
You actually did that, yes.
Well, not on the freeway, but on the main street.
I could see that actually. That's like a vision
Hot
for
pink
you.
rollerblades. It was really
Yeah. Get down, Joe, right? But no. So going into the new year, I like to be, connected. I have to stay connected to my support system, and a lot of people that are sober. What I see, what often happens is that people lose the connection to the ones that they're around that they were sober with. A lot of people that go to treatment centers, they have their brothers and sisters in sobriety they're all newly sober and all that. But what happens when they get out of treatment, they start going back into everyday life, and they get the job, and they get their house back, and they get the wife or the daughter or the kids or things like that, and they get disconnected from their support group. So me personally, I always want to stay close to my tribe. And my tribe, it's very important. It consists of people that are either in the 12-step meetings If I go to yoga, I like to be around people that are, you know, always trying to better their mind, body, and spirit and their soul. You know, you asked me before we started this thing, what other sources do I have that I do that are kind of recovery related? I go to a 4 Agreements group. You know, we
really cool.
sit down and we get into the 4 Agreements book, and it's we just stay plugged in. We do sober activities. You know, we do things into the new year just like we would do them any other time of year. And you know, definitely I like to at least be in at least 5 to 6 12-step meetings per week.
Wow.
And you know, there are various ones because I did various things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so New Year's weekend is actually this weekend.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for anyone who's maybe just getting out of treatment or have a few days sober? Like, I know they'll probably be sitting on their hands this weekend thinking like, oh, my other friends are drinking and drugging this weekend, gonna, you know, pop off the new year with a big bang. Like,
Right.
what advice would you give them?
Okay, so here's the good news. It's New Year's, and if you stay sober through it, you can remember your New Year's. So that's a wonderful thing. A lot of people, they get out of treatment, they don't know what to do with themselves. They see that everybody's in a festive mood, everyone's partying, they're all you know, in everyday life, a lot of people are buying booze and going out with a bang, right? They want to count down into 2018 and have a lot of fun. Me personally, I stay connected to my recovery community, and luckily in our recovery community, what we have is, well, to some people, a sober dance is kind of corny, but like I know a lot of young people, right? A lot of young people that have an event actually this New Year's here in Orange County where we're at, that it's actually in Santa Ana this weekend, where there's going to be a speaker meeting. It's a 12-step type of environment, and then after that, they're going to actually have a full-on dance that's going all the way through New Year till 2 a.m. And it's just like, it's going to be an ocean of young people, you know, like over 1,000 some odd people that are going to be sober and just dancing and having a good time. Cool. And believe me, I've watched a ton of young people, or just people in general that have gotten sober, be more with themselves when they're dancing and having a good time sober, as opposed to the guy that's sloshed and just like belligerent and drunk and wasted out of his mind, that can't remember anything the next morning because he like passed out or blacked out or something like that. So there's a lot of events like that, you know. There's also for adults like me, I'm actually going to the young people's event.
You're still young at heart.
I'm young at heart. I always like to recapture my youth, but I'm going to the young people's event because they're having me speak, and then afterwards, after that, I'm going to go to the older people's event where, you know, the 12-step community always provides. They provide the arena where there's going to be the event, and then after that, also what's really cool is that they have those marathon meetings, and marathon meetings are key for people that are new in recovery. There ain't nothing like being in your head around the holidays or like around New Year's thinking like, how am I going to make it through this, and being able to go somewhere where there's a group of other people that have come together, and they're a support group. Even if you don't know them, you know them, or they allow you to get to know them, and the safety's there. So it's like a safety net. That's
very, very true. So I just want to reiterate that you can have fun, especially if you're young. I know there's a lot of young people that are thinking like, oh, why am I sober? I'm like only 23, 24 years old. Like, you can still have fun. I think for me, one of the breakthroughs in my early recovery was being able to dance.
Yeah.
My first time dancing sober was a little insane.
Yeah.
It was really, really fun, but I remember like constantly going to the bar and needing so many drinks of liquid courage just to get on the dance floor. Within like 30 minutes, I'm almost passing out. So like that's not fun. And it's not something I remember. It's not like a substantial memory. So it's really nice to be sober for the New Year's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you like a planner? Do you have like I'm a planner.
I've become more of a planner.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, I've become a planner. I'm utilizing my calendar.
Yes.
I like to know where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I used to be spontaneous and just on a whim do things, but I'm a planner.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important that you're spontaneous, but at the same time, you definitely, in my opinion, you need some sort of an idea of how your year is going to be structured.
Yes.
So Yeah, how about like maybe in January you think like, okay, so I'm gonna find a sponsor within the first week. Like that would be a good thing. Or go to 6 meetings like you do.
Right.
Every single week you plan for 6 meetings. I think those are some good tips to have.
Absolutely. Yeah, honestly, if you're new in recovery and you're going into the new year, and let's say you're straight out of treatment, or you're not really knowing what to do with yourself, you feel like a fish out of water, what I recommend, and this is, I can only share my own experience. I can't tell people what to do, but I can say this. I always have to put my recovery before anything. It's got to be the most important thing, because if I don't put my recovery before anything, I will lose everything. And it just goes that way. So it doesn't matter if I have the dream job down the line, or if I have the beautiful girlfriend, or if I got the house on the hill, all that, the nice car. None of that stuff matters, because all of that stuff will be lost if I don't put my recovery before anything. So me personally, however I live my life, I always know that obviously I have to work a job in order to make a living, and to be able to pay for where I live, and to do all the things that I do in my life. I love to make time, I love to make time for exercise or yoga. That's got to be like at least 3 to 4 to 5 times a week. Yoga, exercise, in sync, or, on certain days. And then also, I have to make it to my 12-step meetings.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, that's just what I do. I go, I have a home group, I have people that know me on a first name basis, I have commitments in them. I make sure to get commitments in those meetings, because I want to be accountable to the meeting, I want to be accountable to myself and my own recovery, and I want to be a regular attendee so that people can get to know me. And then I also like to connect with people, what I like to do on a daily basis is I like to call somebody in recovery who I can receive help from, and somebody who I can give help to. So, one or the other,
That's good practice.
It's a really cool practice. Another thing that I like to do on a daily basis, and it really, really, really keeps me centered. I mean, from the top of my morning, the second I wake up, I do whatever I need to do to get up and wake up and open my eyes. But I like to write a gratitude list.
Oh, that's really important.
It's absolutely important, because I think an attitude of gratitude, when you implement that into your life on a daily basis, it just makes life that much more easier. So like, you're current, right? You're basically, you're grateful today for what you have today. And I have a group of people. We have this group me app. It's called Sober Brothers, with a AZ on the end of it. But it's 50 of us, 50 deep.
Wow.
50 guys that some of them, I mentor a few of them mentor a few others. But basically, we just kind of came together, and on a daily basis, we wake up in the top of the morning, and everybody will send out this gratitude list. And we've made this agreement amongst each other that we don't just be sending out like gratitude lists where you're like, I'm grateful for oxygen. Like, come on, like, go deep, man. Like, seriously, like, what are you really grateful for? So, some of the things that I read in these gratitude lists, it's amazing. I mean, people that are young, that are like very young, 19, 20, 22, 23 years old, that are talking about, I'm grateful for the relationship I have with my mother today. I'm grateful that I'm not retreating to the bathroom to constantly stick a needle in my arm. I'm grateful to have this many days of sobriety. I'm grateful to have like a sponsee, somebody who I'm actually sponsoring and mentoring in recovery. These different things are, as long as we're totally staying grateful, we can take that throughout our day with us. Prayer and meditation.
Prayer and meditation. You are going completely holistic right now. Mind, body, and soul. How are we going to do this? Yes.
I like to get centered with the man upstairs, or the woman, or whatever it is. But me personally, I have a connection, and I love it. My connection with God is of great importance to me. It keeps me in good spirits, and it reminds me that I have a purpose, as opposed to the person that I used to be, where I was out ruining lives. Now I like to be out trying to help people save lives. You know what I mean? Wow. However that may be. So if I pray in the top of the morning, and then I meditate, I do my very best to try to take that into my day with me. And if anything happens to happen throughout the course of a day that might make me think I'm about to have a bad day, I try to recenter myself with the morning ritual, ritual habitual, like praying and just taking it into the day with me. And all throughout my day, I always say this, basically, God's in the driver's seat, recovery's in sitting shotgun, and I'm sitting in the back seat just going along for the ride, right? So, that's definitely another thing that centers me on a day-to-day basis.
Well, that's beautiful. I think it's really important that we have a practice for ourselves that can ground us every single day. So that is going to be your assignment for our audience. Write a gratitude list, even if it's like 3 things that you're grateful for, and don't make it easy. Make it, put some thought and heart into it and send it to somebody. And also do a little prayer. If prayer is not your thing, do a little meditation, even if it's for 3 minutes. It really, it's super impactful for the rest of your day, and it will help you stay grounded. And for me, one of my biggest blessings is being able to keep and maintain that baseline of gratitude. Not every day is easy for me, I can guarantee you that.
That's right.
But as long as I have that baseline of attitude of gratitude, every day is worth it, and every day is substantial, and it's amazing. Mm-hmm. So I just have one more question for you.
Sure.
What advice would you give somebody who is currently struggling with addiction?
Okay. If you're currently struggling with addiction, and you've attempted to get sober several times, there's a reason that you're attempting to get sober. Part of you wants to get well. You know the story of the 2 wolves?
Yeah.
Which one are we feeding? One's the good wolf, one's the bad wolf. If you're struggling, your bad wolf is most likely telling you that you're worthless, you should be in self-pity, you're never going to make it, you're never going to amount to anything, just go use, throw it all away, life sucks. But the good wolf is always going to say, seek out help. Or, and this is what I feel, if you're new in recovery, the best thing you can do is come and join this altruistic movement. And if you don't know what altruism means, it means to be selfless. So if you take a look at some of the most fabulous, fantastic people on this God-given earth were people like Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Martin Luther King. What did these people do? They were always selfless. They were always being of service to other people.
Absolutely.
And the more that I think that we're helping other people, the less we think about ourselves.
Yeah. Because
at the root of our core as addicts, alcoholics, we are selfish and self-centered. We are always thinking about what we can get for ourselves or what could make us feel good. And the more that we help people, there may be somebody, if you're struggling and you've got 5 days, 50 days of recovery, there may be somebody with 5 hours or 50 hours of recovery that you could reach out to and help. The more that you look at the man who is down or the woman who is down and try to reach out and give them some kind of help, the less you're thinking about yourself. At least you give yourself that opportunity for 30 minutes to an hour to get out of your own head and not worry so much about yourself. And truly, I think when in the top of your day, if you just go throughout the course of your day, the second you wake up, think of five random acts of kindness. Go out and do 5 things for 5 people without telling anyone. Because when you tell somebody, it doesn't count. But if
it comes from ego.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it goes from just holding a door for somebody, or helping an old lady with her groceries, or just taking a cart back to the cart corral at the grocery store. Either way, you're helping someone. You don't need to go around and broadcast it or talk about it. Just do it. If you just do it, if you do that stuff, then your own humility builds up, and you start to actually love yourself more. You care about yourself more. You become more of a genuine person. You have this certain integrity that suddenly comes about, and before you know it, you start to embrace your recovery, and there really is no reason to be struggling anymore at that point. You know? So I hope I didn't say too much today. Blah blah blah.
No, that was amazing.
Am I just like rambling on? Rambling
No,
on.
I love your energy. You've been an amazing guest on our little show. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope everybody has a safe, sober, and happy New Year's.
So
everybody will see you guys next year.
Namaste.
Bye. Namaste, Satnam.